So, today we are going to be covering the town hall topic. And when we are discussing this topic, we are also going to be discussing policy stock issues. Something that I want you to think about that as we're covering this assignment really has three components to it. So the first component that we are going to be discussing is the Toolman paper. And the Toolman paper is a one-page paper that I am going to ask you to create one argument that you could potentially use for the town hall brief. This assignment is worth 50 points and it is due on April 16th. The second assignment is the town hall discussion, and that discussion is due on April 23rd. And so for that one, all you're going to be doing is just clicking into Canvas, into our class, going into the discussions tab, and then you're going to be following the prompt for the discussion. And if you do all the things that is requested of you, if you are checking in a couple of times throughout the week so that you are engaging and interacting with your classmates, you can earn 30 points. And that's going to be on April 23rd. The third assignment is the town hall brief. Now, that's the largest assignment, which is worth 150 points. This assignment is the largest assignment that we will be doing all semester long. And so I am really going to encourage all of you to spend as much time as you possibly can getting this assignment done so that you can really do well on this assignment. So if you look at the combination of all three assignments, this is worth 230 points. And so again, what I've decided to do with this class is rather than having the the biggest assignment done at the end of the semester, where probably in all of your classes you're doing really big assignments, I've decided to do the biggest assignment in the middle of our semester so that when we get towards the end, it's a little bit less work in my class, and therefore you could focus in your other classes a little bit more. Next, for policy, so remember that there is a policy proposition, there is a value proposition, and there's a fact proposition. We discussed those things at the beginning of the semester. So for the unit that we are about to participate in, we are going to be focusing on policy propositions. Now, as we stated at the beginning of the semester, policy propositions are when you are changing the status quo, that you're trying to change a rule, you're trying to change a law, you're trying to change a policy. And so for this assignment, we are going to do a little experiment and we are going to be legislators in the United States federal government. I am asking each of you to tackle a problem and and figure out how to solve that problem. And so for this assignment, it is going to be, we are all doing the topic that the United States federal government should significantly reform the American agricultural system. And so, what I am asking each of you is that I want you to research the agricultural system. I want you to figure out what problems are in the agricultural system, and I want you to figure out a way to solve for those problems. That's what we are going to be doing in this unit. Now, I know that none of you are farmers. I know that many of you probably don't really know what is going on within the agricultural system, but that's what our job is. Our job is now to learn about it. And I think that this is an important topic because at the end of the day, we all eat. And therefore, we should know where our food comes from. We should know how our food is produced and the working conditions that is used in order to produce that food. The agricultural system is a huge, complicated topic. And so I am not asking you to know everything that there is to know about the agricultural system. I am not asking you to identify every single harm and therefore solve every single harm. But I am asking you to look in one area within this topic. Maybe you want to talk about how we raise animals and what we could do to maybe do something different there. You can talk about how we treat farm workers, the undocumented workers that work within the fields, or you could look at the farmers who are running these fields. Maybe we should do something differently with them. You can look at environmental issues, our use of pesticides, our use of water, and how that impacts the environment. So there are a lot of different subtopics within this main topic. And what I'm asking you to do is to pick a subtopic and then create a paper based off of that. This topic is bidirectional, and what that simply means is that you can increase regulations or you can decrease regulations. You can make restrictions more significant and substantial, or you can lessen them. And so there's no one way that you can go about doing this paper, but you just need to pick a subtopic and then you need to figure out which direction you want to go in. Now that we've understand the topic, let's talk about, just generally speaking, what policy stock issues are. So first, stock issues simply just means all the necessary arguments within a type of debate. And so, as I just mentioned, there are three types of debate. So, there are going to be stock issues for policy debate, there will be stock issues for value debate, and there will be stock issues for fact debate. And when we get to the value and the fact unit, we'll talk about those stock issues. Today, it's just going to be focusing on policy. And so, the first stock issue then is what we need to talk about is topicality. So topicality just simply means, are you on the topic that has been presented? And this seems pretty basic, but it's also really important that if I give you all a topic, as we can tell, the topic that's been for the class is very, very broad. I want you to pick one subtopic area to discuss within that large main topic. But sometimes, because you have the freedom to kind of pick a subtopic area, students will pick things that are not exactly directly related. For example, I had a student a couple of years ago that was writing a paper for our class. The topic for that class was, what can we do in order to fix college education? Her approach to the topic was, hey, the way that we fix college education is by fixing high school education. High school students are graduating and they're not really prepared for college. And so if we can fix high school and get students better prepared, they'll go into college being better prepared, and therefore college will improve automatically. Even though that was a really interesting paper, it didn't do well because it really wasn't on the topic. I wasn't asking students to fix high school education. I wasn't asking students to fix all of education. I was asking students to fix college education. And so, because her paper wasn't directly, specifically fixing college education, then she lost points on the assignment. And so, it's just something that I want you to think about. Am I on topic? The second area is that of inherency. And so, with inherency, our job is to explain the barrier that is in place that prevents the status quo from solving the problem. That there needs to be something that is blocking society from fixing the harms that are present. And so our job is to identify what that barrier is. If there is no barrier, if there's nothing that's preventing society from fixing the problem, then that simply just means, oh, well, society can do it on its own. We don't need to really talk about your plan or your subtopic. And so every plan has to have at least a barrier that needs to be overcome. And so I want you to do research, figure out what that hurdle is and to specifically identify what the inherency is for your assignment.